Hello, welcome to our channel Planning Studios, an initiative to explore planning. So, let's explore what is planning all about. We will cover a wide range of planning topics in accessible and engaging format.
Let's start with our second episode on urbanization, its theories and impacts. We will learn regarding urbanization, some basic urbanization theories and urbanization impacts. We will cover urbanization concept, its evolution, objectives and necessity in general. We will also look the urbanization theories, dimensions and impacts. Urbanization is very wide concept. Urbanization simply means the process of making an area more urban. Urbanization is a word for becoming more like a city. When populations of people grow, the population of a place may spill over from city to nearby areas. This is called urbanization. Urbanization refers to general increase in population and the amount of industrialization of a settlement. It includes increase in the number and extent of cities. It symbolizes the movement of people from rural to urban areas. It happens because of the increase in the extent, boundary and density of urban areas. Migration of people from less industrialized regions to more industrialized areas contributes a lot to it. Urbanization is very dynamic term. There is no single start point of urbanization. But generally, Renaissance period is considered as formal start of urbanization in early 16th century. In between 16th and 17th century, Turkish assaults occurred, which led to grew the trade which served as a ground for development of European cities along coasts. Industrial revolution which started in early 17th century boosted the development and growth. Along the rising industrialization, population of cities started to increase. Also, the independence movement in Asian and African continent led to growth of cities and towns, which started the new era of urbanization all over the world. The images show the transition of Chicago from early 18th century to early 19th century. Earlier it was just a small settlement in 1820. After 30 years it resulted into massive development of residential and industrial growth. In late 18th century, the city developed with a gridiron patterned roads and proper zoning regulations. There are many urbanization theories with many proponents. But we will discuss the most popular theories like endogenous, modernization, dependency and globalization. First, endogenous urbanization. Endogenous urbanization simply means self-formed cities and towns. They seems a metamorphosis from settlement to big city due to many factors like industry, residence, communication, etc. One of the best example of endogenous urbanization is Great Britain. Second, we have modernization theory. Technology has a key role to play in genesis of city. Simply, the industrial growth drives the city growth is the example of modernization theory of urbanization. Third is dependency theory. Urbanization is dependent on one or many factors. Simply, market forces determines the urbanization. It defines the relationship between capitalism and urbanization. Fourth and last one is globalization theory. There is no isolation that drives the growth but multifaceted factors and global geography. The globalized city is well connected with all parts of the world. The best example of globalized cities are New York, London, Mumbai, etc. Urbanization carries several important dimensions that collectively and individually produce macro and micro impacts on the society and in everyday life. Firstly, urban place and hierarchy, which shows the spatial and administrative hierarchical composition. Secondly, urban primacy, which shows the demographic and functional syndromes. Thirdly, over and under urbanization, which signifies the rate of urbanization. Fourthly, natural factors constituting population increase and migration. These dimensions will help pave the way for us to examine the consequences of urbanization. Now we will see impacts of urbanization. There are various impacts, but we have segregated as environmental, economical, social, housing, spatial and demographics related. First impact of urbanization is on environment. Urbanization in terms of megacity explosion has elevated global attention to the urbanization and environment relationship. Major environmental impacts are natural disasters, groundwater depletion, global warming, rising temperature, air pollution, water issues and destruction of habitats. These environmental challenges would not have been brought into sharp relief this quickly. It has reshuffled the priority deck for understanding and confronting the list of consequences of urbanization on a global scale. Second impact of urbanization is on economy. Rising urbanization is creating the problem of job creation and unemployment. Also, the informal sector is deepened in pressure, which is unable to cope with it, as has been happening in China's big cities, and more new rural migrants pushed out by the shrinking the agricultural economy. Third impact of urbanization is on social sectors like education and health. The amassing of poor rural migrants in Indian and Chinese megacities has magnified the glaring problem of providing basic and affordable education to the children of these migrants. The massive number of the urban poor, including the majority of migrant workers, does not only have to lead to an inferior education and health status for them but also a deprived quality of life. Fourth impact of urbanization is on housing and urban form. Rising urbanization is creating major deficiencies in housing quality and quantity, security of occupants, the supporting infrastructure and allied services. Also, haphazard forms are depriving the quality of city and the pushing load on necessary existing infrastructure. This, however, provides new evidence that the recent impact of mega urbanization on housing and urban form is working its way through the familiar mechanism of suburbanization, even though the latter is unfolding with some distinctive national and local features. Fifth impact of urbanization is on demography. Urbanization is providing necessary breeding ground for the population to rise. Also, migration is acting as catalyst to the existing situation. Population is not only impacting the city dynamics but also its societal and environmental balance. We have discussed the impacts mostly based on pessimistic approach. Though urbanization is considered as optimistic in today's world, it is creating more opportunities for growth. Urbanization benefits us in increasing efficiency, effective usage of resources, helps us integrate socially and improve the economy. Lastly, many vital factors decide what would be the future for humankind be like. Urbanization definitely not just create problems, but urbanization itself also contains solutions. Hence, the challenge is in learning how to exploit the possibilities.